Focal TV, bringing you innovation to broadcasting, news, views, comments, and analysis of issues happening in Liberia and the rest of the world. Focal TV, with check and balance, we break it as it unfolds. Focal TV, bringing you face to face with newsmakers in town.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. This is Focal Online TV, where we bring innovation to broadcasting. If you are watching from the diaspora, a pleasant good morning, good evening, good afternoon to you. Welcome again to another daily edition of Inside the Print Media. And for today, I am your regular presenter on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. And my name is Gregphina. So this morning, we're going to be bringing all of the headlines of our news sources and the news in detail. So our sources this morning and our refusion of newspaper this morning is from the Daily Observer newspaper, the New Dawn newspaper, the Front Page Africa newspaper, and the Independent Probe. From there, we move over to our international source, that is ABC. So this morning, before we begin, let me first say thanks for cooperating with the message of our president previously before the Independence Day celebration. Thanks for staying home. Thanks for not going to your business centers because he said that all businesses should be closed for the Independence Day celebration. And I'm saying happy Independence Day. We're still celebrating our Independence Day anyway. It was done yesterday, one way or the other. Someone is still celebrating. So we are grateful to God for the opportunity being back here again in studio to serve our country, Mama Liberia. So this morning we have some interesting stories. If you don't have a newspaper, we encourage you to get one from the Daily of a newspaper. We encourage you to get a hot pepper newspaper. And I mean, the list goes on. The front page, Africa, the New Down. Our news here this morning are magnificent. It's very essential for those who love reading, those who want to be acquainted with information concerning our country, Liberia. So if you are watching us live now, thanks for watching. Andy Bobla Jara, happy post Independence Day. Thanks for watching. Please share our live stream and let us, go through our news process this morning. So for the headlines on the Daily Observer newspaper, we have Chief Zanzan Kawa endorses we are second term bid. Chief Zanzan Kawa endorses we are second term bid. So you see the next headline under the Daily Observer newspaper, you see Armed Forces of Liberia rescue 23 foreigners from pirates. So the headlines here this morning are very interesting. Try to get yourself a newspaper. From there, we have the New Dawn newspaper. LEC lights up slum communities. LEC lights up slum community. Buttress Jetty's effort under the New Dawn newspaper. That's another headline. And then you have lastly from the front page Africa, you have Alexander Cummings 2023 Independence Day message. The newspaper this morning are very, very much interesting. Try to get yourself a paper and then be acquainted with all of the happenings within our country, Liberia. Remember, Focal TV on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media only bring top stories along with the headlines and using details. To be acquainted with all of the information relating to our country, Liberia, and the world at large, get yourself a newspaper that is sold for an affordable price. That is 40 Liberian dollars and 50 Liberian dollars. Thanks for watching. Please stay with me as I'll be right back with the headlines and news in details. With that being said, I'm your presenter on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media, and my name is Gregphina Parry. So stay with me, please, as I'll be right back. Okay. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome back again to another daily edition of Inside the Print Media with your presenter, Gregphina Karshpa. So this morning we're gonna be reading our headlines of news and the news in details. Today is Thursday, July 27, 2023. So we say happy post-Independence Day. So all of our Liberian citizens in and out of Liberia, we are grateful for the peace we had over the past years and the peace we are still enduring during these difficult times. It's my prayer that Liberia will move from grace to grace and that our country, this noble land of liberty, this global land of liberty will rise again. So let's look at our news for this morning. The Daily Observer newspaper headline: Chief Zanzan Kawa endorses Ria's second term bid. Chief Zanzan Kawa endorses Ria's second term bid. Chief Zanzan Kawa, the national orator of Liberia's 176th Independence Day celebration, has stunned the nation by publicly endorsing President Ria bid for re-election. Kawa, whose declaration came unexpectedly, called on opposition politicians to cease their battle against the president who is up for re-election come October 10 and instead focus on finding ways to develop the country. The people who are in the opposition should think about development in other areas for the people. But the only thing they want to do is fight their leaders, which is not in our tradition as people, Kawa said in his native Basa, which was then translated into English by a government hire translator. His speech was on the theme giving our people hope for violence free, fair, transparent, and inclusive and credible elections. However, not much said about the need for re election. Analysts believe Kawa's decision has effectively undetermined any role he and the traditional council are expected to play in any pre and post election crisis if it emerges. His endorsement comes at time when we are faces a serious challenge for their presidents from former Vice President Joseph Waka and Alexander Kumi. It is unclear whether Kawa's decision was approved by the Traditional Council, a body which he has failed to take to elections, always sitting like a phony, thereby perpetuating his tenure. Kawa named 30 vehicles, 150 motorbikes, and 50 ambulances as some of the donation the council has received from the president, and later claimed that he thought the opposition politicians who have joined the president to do more for a team instead of fighting Weah. The way I see President George Weah, when you look at him, he looks like a young person, but he thinks like an elder, Kawa noted. Therefore, as a traditional leader, we are prepared to collaborate with you to pay our taxes to develop Liberia. I thought the opposition would have joined the president to do more for the traditional people. Let me let you know the person who feeds people or the person who feeds people and people will follow them. Wait, when it's your time, it's your time. Our culture and religion have established norms that must be respected at all times. Our culture also says that we must respect our leaders and so we don't fight our president, he said. Kawa mentioned the president goodwill gesture comes about a year after we had donated about 45 vehicles, 150 motorbikes to the council to ensure efficiency in the day-to-day operations of the council members. Meanwhile, Kawa has blamed American Liberians for allegedly failing to practice tenets of good governance when they came to Liberia about 2 centuries ago. He claimed that after more than 170 years, Liberia is nowhere in terms of development and not comparable to other countries in the sub-region as he absolved the Weah administration of any fault. Kawa then accused what he described as the minority elite, or marginalizing the indigenous people of Liberia and fueling by governance, and said that his selection to serve as orator shows that the president has respect and honor for culture and traditional leaders. As Kawa spoke, some of the country's leading opposition figures or politicians were notably absent from the occasion marking the Independence Day celebration at the Continental Pavilion on Ashmore Street. Prominent politicians who were absent are Bwaka Cummins, Tawa Gonglo, Nombli Kanga Lawrence, and Sarah Beslow Yanti. It is unclear whether these politicians were extended an invitation or not. As for Bwaka, he left for the US about a week before the Independence Day festivals for some personal family matters. The hall of the Continental Pavilion was poorly attended, with many empty seats who have been seen around. In attendance were the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, President of the Gambia, Adama Barrow, and Ukraine Foreign Minister Damcho Kuluba. Meanwhile, we are in his Independence Day message lauded Chief Zanzankawa for the oration which the president claimed was beautiful. We are said he is convinced that Kawa's message has resonated with all Liberians as it did with him and that it will have a meaningful impact on the country's unity, peace, and forward progress. We must remember the adoption of the Declaration of Independence was done simultaneously with the first constitution of Liberia. The president said in his regard, the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence and the constitution constitutes Independence Day. He added that all Liberians have a collective duty and obligation to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution, and the theme of this year's celebration is therefore a reminder to everyone to do so for the country and God. We now move over to another headline under the Daily Observer newspaper. EPA forecasts heavy flooding in Monrovia environs. EPA forecasts heavy flooding in Monrovia environs. The Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia, EPA, has issued a stern warning to residents of Monrovia and its environs regarding heavy rainfalls that are expected to cause flooding in various parts of the country. In a statement issued on July 26, the EPA urged residents to take immediate precautionary measures to safeguard their lives and property during this critical weather event. The EPA said its primary concern is safeguarding public health and the environment. With the imminent threat of flooding, the agency says it is imperative that all residents of Liberia act responsibly and collectively to mitigate potential risks. The EPA has therefore called on the public to immediately cease showing dirt in the waterways, backfilling the swamplands, and building the swamp areas. The EPA said its primary concern is safeguarding public health and environment. Disposing of waste or debris in water bodies and drainages not only contaminates the water but also obstructs natural drainage systems. Exacerbating the flooding issue, the EPA said filling in swampy areas disrupt the natural absorption of excess water during heavy rains, leading to an increased likelihood of flooding in surrounding regions. Constructing structures in swampy areas and disrupting the decelerated balance of the ecosystem. And these areas are more susceptible to flooding and damage during extreme weather events, that agency added. We strongly encourage all residents to report any instances of these harmful activities to the EPA. Your cooperation in reporting such incidents is vital in our effort to perceive or to preserve the environment and protect communities for the adverse effects of flooding. The EPA said as part of its preparedness strategy, the EPA issued a series of precautionary measures to residents. You have to stay informed and updated with the latest weather forecasts, advisories, and emergency warnings to remain aware of the changing conditions. The statement warned refrain from walking or driving through flooded areas, especially during heavy rainfalls, seeking higher ground if you encounter rising water level. The agency also called on Liberians, especially those in flood-prone areas, to secure their belongings. If you reside in flood-prone regions, take measure of your belongings, they said. Possessions to minimize damage and assembly an emergency kit containing essentials such as food, water, medical supplies, and important documents. Be ready to evacuate if necessary. We now move over to another headline under the Daily Observer newspaper. The armed forces of Liberia rescue foreigners from pirates. Armed forces of Liberia rescued 23 foreigners from pirates. The news in details. The armed forces of Liberia has successfully rescued 23 foreigners who were held captive by pirates on board the Chinese fishing vessel Shiga. The pirates had stormed in the vessel while it was in the waters of Sierra Leone and took control of it, taking the passenger hostage. The heavily armed pirates exchanged serious fire with the Liberian soldiers who approached the vessel to rescue hostages, which included 7 Chinese and 17 Sierra Leoneans, the Ministry of Defense said in a release. According to the release, the Liberian arm got involved with the vessel after being issued a piracy alert by the Sierra Leone Navy. The Armed Forces of Liberia, through the Liberian Coast Guard, conducted a special maritime interdiction operation following a piracy alert reported by the Sierra Leone Navy. The incident, which took place in the Gulf of Guinea, is not strange as the Gulf is notorious for pirates' attack. With the International Maritime Bureau, the reporting numerous incidents in the region over the years. Pirates in the area often target fishing vessels and commercial ships, hijacking them for ransom or looting valuable cargo. The presence of armed gangs has escalated the violence, putting the lives of sailors and fishermen at greater risk. The Coast Guard, upon order, initiated action to secure the vessel by conducting forced boarding and securing the lower deck of the vessel and had to battle for a while with the army, they said. 3 pirates launched a live raft to escape the vessel, leaving 1 pirate to be captured and 2 crew members rescued. After a few hours of negotiation for the remaining pirates to surrender Phil, he held the bridge 4 hours with the remaining crew members held hostage. The special operations team broke into the bridge, apprehended the second pirate, and rescued the remaining 21 crew members. Three armed pirates ran into hiding compartments, the release noted. Meanwhile, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, D. Maxwell Kimia, who officially turned over the rescued foreigners to their respective embassy authorities. Kimia noted that the Defense Minister Singh Ken and Chief of Staff Johnson continue to do work as the rescuing and apprehension of two pirates is of no surprise to the Foreign Ministry. This operation has highlighted the need for more support to our men and women in arms and to all our agencies of government who will continue our engagement from the US government, Chinese, and all other governments and other partners so that together we can work towards an integrated and comprehensive support to security sector, Kemea said. We move over to the New Dawn newspaper headlines and news and details. Headlines of the New Dawn newspaper. LEC lights up slum communities. LEC lights up slum communities. The Liberia Electricity Corporation (LEC) has finally switched on some slum communities in Montserrado County. The exercise was part of the Gap Community Electrification Project (GCEP), that is GCEP, which targets area communities, villages, and towns initially left out of the LEC Power Grid Electricity Program sponsored by the World Bank. LEC said GCEP is a self-initiative sponsored by the corporation to expand electricity to slum and hard-to-reach communities to help curtail power theft. Leading the team, Moni, our captain, stressed the significance of electricity to the threshold of the population. Captain said the corporation aim is to provide access to electricity for unserved and undeserved areas left out of LEC Power Grid project. Mr. Captain highlighted that the AEC intends to provide livelihood and social services and help mitigate environmental and economic challenges of the slum communities. He noted further that the intent is to curtail power theft, something he said hindered the economic growth of a nation. The AEC Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Captown, also stated that the GAP's electrification project is a priority for the government of Liberia, GOL. He indicated that electrifying the entire Liberia and ensuring every Liberian has access to electricity is the prime objective of the LEC. He commended the government of President George Weah for the tireless effort in supporting the corporation to ensure that the livelihoods of the people are improved with the access to electricity. For his part, the executive director for engineering and major connection at LEC, Deli Shaboyo, cautioned community dwellers to be protective citizens and calm down against power theft. Mr. Shaboyo encouraged them to be good citizens and customers who will protect the electricity given to them. He urged citizens to desist from trespassing meters, which is at the detriment of their safety and loss to the LEC. In an overview of GCEP, Mr. Shaboyo said it seeks to bridge electricity access gaps, especially for people living in difficult and remote areas. He said through the GC project, thousands of households will benefit from the electricity. We now move over to another headline under the New Dawn newspaper. So, Buttress Jetty's effort. The headline says Buttress Jetty's effort. Monrovia Central Prison Deputy Superintendent Mr. Joel Justin Jua has called on well-meaning Liberians and organizations to budget in their philanthropist Mr. Objit Sina Shadive effort in feeding inmates. During Mr. Shadive, Mr. Chetty routine home cooked meal distribution with inmates and with less fortunate folks on Liberia's 176th Independence Day celebration Wednesday, 26 July 2023. Jua said it is not easy to feed a prison population. I would like to join him again to call on well-meaning Liberians, potential people, organizations to buttress the effort of Jetty, said Mr. Chua. Mr. Chua noted that it's very hard to see potential people, be it the first branch of government and well-meaning Liberians, donating to the Monrovia Central Prison. He said the number of inmates at the Monrovia Central Prison is 1,314, adding that this figure tells that the facility is jam-packed and it's not easy to feed the inmates. Chua lamented that it's sad for Liberia judicial system to have over 1,000 inmates at the Monrovia Central Prison who are pre-trial detainees. He admonished that everyone outside is a potential prisoner, saying we don't know our day. Those that come in conflict with the law, they must be given their court or their day in court, he added. He indicated that it is pity that if you are accused of rape, for instance, and you are behind bars after 8 court term without being judged. He lamented that this situation places a burden on prison administrators because they hear inmates' concerns every time. According to him, the court and the police are getting support, but not much attention is given to the prison system, the third component of the justice criminal system. Chua called on all judiciary and minister of justice to try and speed up cases so that those that are innocent can be released. Additionally, he pleaded with President George Weah to call on the legislature to pass an act that seeks to make the Bureau of Correction an autonomous agency. Mr. Chua said the act is languishing in the legislature, pleading with President Weah to ensure that the Bureau becomes autonomous to alleviate most of the problems that prison management faces. With this being said, we move over to the front page Africa newspaper. Alexander Cummings 2023 Independence Day message. Alexander Cummings 2023 Independence Day message. The news in details. Liberia is 176 years old. Our country is too old and experienced to be where we are today. We are 118 years older than Singapore, 101 years older than the state of Israel, and 110 years older than the Republic of Ghana. Our country inspired these countries and assisted others to become independent. Yet, as we celebrate our age, we are ranked amongst the poorest and most corrupt nations on earth. Although we are blessed with so much natural wealth, yet we are poor. Too many of our people live in unacceptable conditions of poverty and are continuing to die from preventable and treatable illness. Liberia is blessed with fertile soil and good weather, yet we cannot feed ourselves. The educational system is a shameful mess. The health system is a disgrace. And the justice system is a joke. We cannot even trust the government to fairly investigate and partially interpret our laws. Under President Weah, our country has become increasingly lawless. Lawless is a serious threat to democracy and a risk to any nation's stability and security. Our peace is shaky. Too many Liberians are living in fear. Too many are jobless and too many are without employable skills. Things are bad and getting worse. Homes are breaking down, families are falling apart, children are forced to become breadwinners as drugs and crimes take over our streets and communities. Women and girls continue to struggle for protection from crimes such as rape and inclusion in national decision making. Our nation is struggling with political insecurity and economic fragility. We are in serious trouble by the people. International financial institutions are keeping us on economic life support all across the country and in every political part. Liberians are suffering. Serious international investors are now finding our country to be suitable destination for investment under President Weah. The government is corrupt, wasteful, divisive, irresponsible, and cannot be trusted to obey its own law. Even worse, the Weah administration does not know what it is doing and cannot inspire a rest of the nation compass so we find our way to bright and unite future. Under President Weah, our country is adrift. We have lost our way. Admittedly, Liberia's decline did not begin with President Weah. However, every good thing this administration inherited, it has effectively made bad every every bad thing, including corruption that it inherited, it has made historically worse. Over the last 6 years, Liberia has become a gangster paradise presided over by a band of thieves. Our country is a drug haven. Our diplomatic passports are possessed by international criminals. Our democracy is under threat. Lawless abounds in our government system is overtaken by colonialism, incompetence, and stalking dictatorship. As if this is not dangerous enough, starved of new ideas and vision, some political leaders are deepening the wounds of our fractured nation and lowering our politics into an appeal to tribal and religious division. Liberians of every tribe and religion are suffering to mismanage of our country and the result of a corrupt leadership. Now it is not a time to fuel tribal tension or to divide our people. My fellow Liberians, I have worked in many foreign capitals around the world and have built a accountable system. I have led teams comprising citizens of many different countries. I know that citizens of other nations are not smarter than we are. Our country is richly blessed, but people, including the competent and qualified citizens who can properly manage our country, can lead us to a new future of unity and shared prosperity. Liberia, Liberia is rich in talent and human capacity. I see them in every political party and across all tribes. I see them in every religion. I see them across the Liberia diaspora. We will work with everyone irrespective of differences in tribe, gender, religion, and political party affiliation. All we will require is a new mindset of high integrity and a commitment of public accountability, which I will lead by example to fix broken system. For me, real change is not a meaningless political slogan. This is because I refuse to agree that we must continue to accept low standards, incompetence, and lack of integrity in the leadership of our country. He said, I refuse leaders to continue to corruptly negotiate away our natural resources so that we have increasingly become a rent-seeking and independent nation. I refuse to accept that after shipping out our rubber, diamond, iron, and ore, and gold, our communities still need to be without first class schools, our hospitals without modern technology and equipment, and our roads continue to be unpaved and impassable. We have to fix this foolishness. I strongly disagree that we must continue to outscore the responsibility of our government to other nations and international organizations. Of course, we need international assistance, but we do need others to do for us what we can and should be doing for ourselves. Liberia is not cursed by God to have corrupt leaders and poor people. We now move over to another headline. Special message by H.E. Dr. George Manuria, President of the Republic of Liberia, on the occasion of the observance of the 176th Independence Celebration. The message from the President. First Lady of the Republic of Liberia, Her Excellency, Her Excellency Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, the Speaker and honorable members of the House of Representatives, the President pro tempore and members of the Senate. Her Honor, the Chief Justice, Associate Justice, and members of the Judiciary, His Excellency Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of the Gambia, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo Addo, President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency Damcho Kuluba, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Ukraine, His Excellency Dr. Sadi Mohamed Tunis, Speaker of ECOWAS Parliament, and members of the ECOWAS Parliament here present, Ambassador Fanning Kakwa, former Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Cote d'Ivoire to Liberia, and more than 1.5 million of displaced, both at home and abroad. It is a stark reminder of the cause of division and discord. My fellow citizens, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, today, this auspicious occasion of the 176th anniversary of our beloved Republic of Liberia, we gather here at the historic Centennial Memorial Pavilion to celebrate another significant milestone in our nation's history. With hearts full of gratitude and reflection, we thank the Almighty God for guiding us through 176 years of independence as a sovereign nation and people. As we stand here today, we cannot ignore the shadows cast by the checkered past of our nation, particularly the dark chapter of civil war that destroyed our beloved land for 15 long and painful years. We remember the life lost and the countless families torn apart, with over a quarter of a million Liberians perishing. In conclusion of our president's message, he said, I call on all citizens to be proud of themselves and their country, to be proud of preserving the sovereignty and cohesive integrity of Africa's first and oldest republic. Many thanks to our go to our friends, partners, and foreign residents for assisting us to uphold and defend our sovereignty. Our combined fortitude and patriotic commitment are an inspiration of hope to the future of a Liberia that will rise and remain a bastion of positive history in Africa and the world. We now move over to independent Pope. Another military coup in Niger amidst global condemnation. Far away from Liberia, this news is being brought to you by Independent Probe. Another military coup in Niger amidst global condemnation. The news in details. Group soldiers in the West African state of Niger top President Mohamed Bazoum late on Wednesday, hours after a prominent politician was detained by members of the elite presidential guard. In a statement broadcast on national television, Colonel Major Amadou Abadin said that the defense and security forces have decided to put an end to the regime you are familiar with. This follows the continuous deterioration of the security situation, the bad social and economic management. The soldiers said the country's borders were closed and a nationwide curfew was in place. All institutions of the country were also suspended, he added. Abaddon was seated and flanked by 9 other officers wearing fatigues as he read out his statement. The group, which is calling itself the National Council for the Safeguarding of the Country, warned against any foreign intervention. The announcement came after a day of uncertainty as Niger's presidency reported that members of the elite guard unit were engaging in an anti-republican demonstration, and news agency reported that Bazoum was being held at the palace by the mutinous forces. It was unclear where the president was at the time Aberdeen announcement or if he had resigned. The United States immediately called for Bazoum's release. I spoke with President Bazoum earlier this morning and made clear that the United States resolutely supports him as the democratically elected president of Niger. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken told reporters in New Zealand. We call for this immediate release, he said. The military takeover, which marks the seventh coup in the West and Central Africa region since 2020, could further complicate Western efforts to help countries in the Sahel region fight against armed groups linked in Al-Qaeda and IS. Niger, a landlocked former French colony, has become a pivotal ally for Western powers seeking to fight the armed groups and is also a key ally of the European Union in the fight against irregular migration from sub-Saharan Africa. Al Jazeera Makana, reporting from Washington, D.C., said the development in Niger were of great concern to the U.S. and its allies. This is how we close down on our news here within our country. Our news sources for today is from the Daily Observer newspaper, the New Dawn newspaper, Front Page Africa newspaper, and Independent Pro. We take a short break. In just 2 minutes, we will be right back with our international news, ABC. So stay with me, please. Continue to share our live stream. Welcome back again, folks, to another daily edition of Inside the Print Media. So we move quickly to our international news and our sources for today. Our source for today is ABC. Mississippi teens death in poultry plants show child labor remains a problem, Fed say. The death of a 16-year-old in Mississippi poultry plant earlier this month offered another reminder that children remain vulnerable to exploitation in the workplace in the United States, senior Labor Department officials said Wednesday. Davon Perez became the third teenager to die in an industrial accident this summer. Those deaths occur amid a push by lawmakers in some states to loosen child labor regulation in order to meet growing demands for workers, though none of the deaths occur in states where new laws have been enacted. Perez was working on a sanitation crew at Mad Shaft Portrait on July 14 when he became entangled in the in a conveyor belt he was cleaning. According to records obtained by the Associated Press on Wednesday, before authorities arrived to the meat processing plant, Perez's co-worker had tried to extract him from the equipment, which crashed to the plant ceiling. Police found the teenager dead, and Forest County Coroner Bush Benedict said in a text message that Perez died from traumatic asphyxia and blunt force trauma. In a statement, Mark Job Portrait blamed an unnamed staffing company for hiring Perez to work at a plant and said Perez's paperwork appeared to misrepresent his age. We are devastated at the loss of life and deeply regret that an underage individual was hired without our knowledge. The company is undertaking a thorough audit with the staffing companies to ensure that this kind of error never happens again, the statement said. Marcus Schatz, 16, died in early July after he became entangled in a wool stocking machine at the Norton, Wisconsin sawmill where he worked. Will Hampton, also 16, died in June when he was pinned between a cement truck and its trailer at a landfill in Lee Summit, Missouri. State and federal child labor laws prohibit minors from working in meat processing plants. The hazards were highlighted over the past year by one of the worst child labor cases in the department's history. In that case, children as young as 13 years found cleaning dangerous equipment like skull platters and bone saws in slaughterhouses across the country while working for a one-cent-based cleaning contractor. This is how we bring our news to an end. Thanks for watching along with us today. Remember, Focal TV is located within the Topo Village community along the Japanese Highway. Don't forget, our offices are open for business deals, and all of our shows being run here are also open for sponsorship. Happy Post Independence Day to us Liberians. Shout out to us for 176 years of peace. May God bless our motherland. Before we close, I just have this thought about the orator of yesterday program, our Independence Day program. His message was not clear, and I feel it's something that should be taken to consideration and be worked on next year if President George Weah will be elected as president of Liberia. He has to understand that this particular Independence Day celebration is crucial to us as Liberians. So you cannot just do anything because of political reason or because of interest. You have to have someone who will address the message as it is. If you are talking about peace within our country Liberia, if you are talking about the upcoming electoral process, be straight with it, be balanced with it, talk about it, so that those who are watching from the diaspora, those who are being invited to this occasion will have a concept of our Independence Day celebration. Instead, you go somewhere to you serving as an orator for a remarkable event, and then you just say any political stuff because you are supporting someone. It's kind of bad. The way we do our politics here in Liberia is really bad. So I'm dissatisfied with the message that was delivered by Zanzan Kawa yesterday. And I've been saying this previously that it was not clear, and it shouldn't have been him as a traditional person. He should have played a different role in the event yesterday instead of him serving as an orator. He served as an orator. We did not get the message that should have been delivered. And instead, he started throwing jabs at opposition and started saying a whole lot of things. You cannot go on a peaceful forum celebrating our Independence Day celebration and say something contrary to the message you present to the people. It's totally wrong. And I feel it should be worked on. This is just a hint to the president of Liberia that this was not what we deserved yesterday. We deserve better, reflecting on our past and how to move on to the present. Y'all try to do away with this so much politics and interest. Let us face our country, looking at all of the trending issues within our country. This is how I close up on the daily edition of Inside the Print Media. We'll be back again tomorrow. with another headlines and news and details. With this being read and said out, happy post Independence Day to us. It's a week. Let's celebrate. I hope this weekend we still celebrate our country in a good and peaceful way. Thanks for watching. I love you. This is a delayed edition of Inside Your Print Media, and I am your presenter, Gregphina. Have a blessed